Welcome everyone to episode 3 of Orion Homestead Project Schoolie Edition. We've got a lot going on in this particular episode. As you saw in the last one of the things that we're going to do is finish that subfloor all the way up to the cab. We're going to get that diesel tank enlarged. We're going to finish up those wheel wells, and one of the biggest things that we're going to do is talk about insulation, and then finally close it out with a little bit about leveling the bus. So we got a lot to get through. Appreciate you being here. Like and subscribe, and let's get after it. So let's talk about this gas tank access, diesel tank access. So as you can see, this is the original hole that was in the bus, and it was screwed down here under the seats. But I need to tap the tank. It's kind of hard to see down there. Let me see if I can put a little light on the subject. Yeah, there you go. There's the fuel sending unit right there. And I'm expanding this out a little bit to give me some more access to the top and be able to get tools in there so I can tap that for my diesel heater. The way that I've got this set up is I'm going to do the metal cut right here and then foam cut larger so that there's a lip for that to sit down on when it goes back in here, and the same with the subfloor, and then I'll trim it out. There'll be a bench over this or something like that, but I want to make sure that I have easy access and I can just pull it up, put it down, whatever the case may be. I was hoping to make it a little bit bigger, but I've got a beam and a frame right here, and as you can see, I've got frame right here, and so I'm just going to cut along the side of the frame to the corner, come across, and then the actual frame goes all the way back to here, but I don't want to get too close, so I'm going to cut it out here and just cut this square, and that'll give me the access to the tank that I need to get tools and stuff in there to be able to tap the holes and things. But at this point, I'm going to go ahead and get this drilled out, get this cut out, and we'll see what it looks like when it's done. I'll be right back. Okay, there it is, all cut out. It was a bit challenging with the jigsaw. Also, the blade reach was a little bit long, so I had to pick it up on this side. So when I cut this long edge over here, I put it on top of a 1x and then just let it slide on the 1x across, and got her done, got her cut. But I'm going to turn the camera a little bit, try to get a better angle, and there you can see the entire hole and the sending unit down there, and I've got flat spots on each side of the sending unit where I can work to drill and tap and get my diesel heaters in there, tapping the tank. One of the other things that I found too is that my next sheet of plywood or subfloor that I put in, 48 inches, is going to come right here on this line. So I'll be able to get this piece of foam in and the next piece of subfloor without doing anything, and I'll only have to cut the last piece of subfloor that goes in over here. But I'm going to wait on that for a little bit because I need to seal up my door again, because as you can see, maybe you can't see, but it's dripping water in here, so I need to get that sealed up. You can get a better picture down there. That's all coming from inside in the door, so I need to close that up. But I just wanted to share that with you. I said that we would do it in this video. Got it done. Now I'm going to clean this up and move on to finishing up the process of getting that subfloor in. Have a good one. Well, here we are. So it's still Saturday, December the 28th. After I left you off on my last episode, I went ahead and picked up and started working on the expansion for the access to the tank, which I've already showed you. And once I got that in place, I actually went ahead and finished out the foam and floor, got it all the way up to the cab. So I'm really happy with that. We got the entire subfloor in, including foam insulation from the back all the way up to the front. over 2 days, but total time on task was probably about 8 hours. So got her done, and now I think what I'm going to do is migrate some of all the weight that I got in the back, put it up here on the front, open up the back so I can start working back there. And now, as promised, so let's talk about insulation and strapping. As you can see, I've been busy, but none of this is permanent because I need to take it back down and glue it to the walls of the bus so that it doesn't squeak and a little bit firmer. I put the strapping in. I spent the last week more or less getting everything prepped ready, getting everything cut in place, making sure everything fit, so that when it comes time to gluing it in, I can just rock and roll with it and get it done fairly quickly. I've got 2-inch insulation up here in the center, and then in the curve of the roof here I had to go with 1-inch insulation. I've got 2 pieces. One's cut at the frame width at 20 inches and the other one is cut at 16. We can come up here where there's no strapping and I can try to show you how that looks. If you'll see right there, this is the 20-inch piece. Kind of hard to hold the camera and do this. So that goes right there and butts up against that, like that. And then the glue goes in. And then this 16-inch piece will come in like this and go to the other side of that. And then the strapping will come across here. And as you can see, it'll pull it up and make it conform to the bend of the roof. 2-inch wouldn't do it, it would just break. So 2 pieces of 1 inch. Kind of hoping it works, but we'll see. I do have all of the strapping in place all the way up forward of the wheel well. Like I said, I want to start in the back and work back there and work up to the wheel wells, up to the front of them. Start working on framing where the shower is, the bed's going to go in the back, the bathroom on the other side where the wheel well is. Getting all that in place. One of the big reasons I'm kind of in a rush right now, it's barely above 40 degrees right now. Wind chills are in the teens right now. We're about to get a real cold snap and I'm not going to be able to use that glue for a while, so I'm going to more or less start working on getting this stuff glued up in the time that I have available left today. I've got until about 4 o'clock and then temperatures are going to start plummeting, so we'll see how much we can get done. I think one of my next projects after this is to try to get some heat in here so I'm not so dependent on the weather. But I'm going to put this on time lapse and we are going to see how much we can get knocked out. Well, that's a wrap. That's all I can do. It's getting cold and running out of daylight. I can't see. Got my light on, but I'm not so sure I can go much further. But as you can see, I did get all the left side of the bus all the way up to in front of the wheel well and the center. The stuff back there, I need to do some other work and frame in around the emergency hatch and the max air fan before I can finish out all of that foam. But that's the process. It's going to drop below freezing tonight, down in the 20s, and it's not going to get out of the low 30s and 20s for at least a week or more. So I'm done with insulation for a bit, but I'm going to continue working on other stuff. Welcome back, everyone, and this place is a mess. One of the first things that I wanted to show you is I did finally get the cover made for the diesel tank. I was able to glue that up this morning and put that brick on it to compress it down. I was actually quite pleased and surprised because when I left you last on 28th of December doing the glue on the ceiling, I had about a half a tube, put a screw in the end of it, came back over 2 weeks later and pulled that screw out and it flowed like butter. So that was really happy. So let me catch you up on what's been going on. Really not a whole lot, to be honest with you. I did get some lights in here and they have an added benefit I'll get to in a second. But as you can see where I left you last on December 28th, I had thought that I ran out of time for getting the rest of the insulation up. Checking temperature, checking time, I didn't, so I went ahead and finished out the other side as well and got all those little pieces in like I just left you. So today is Sunday, January the 13th, so it's a little over 2 weeks later from that last shot. I got that done. I did get all this done on December the 28th. I just haven't been able to do anything since then because the weather has been completely uncooperative. I finally did get my halogen shop lights out and clean them up and replaced the bulbs and got them working. As you can see, there's quite a bit more light in here. One of the added benefits is it's 36 degrees outside, but my thermometer that I have stuck up here, it is 51 degrees. On the left there, you can see that the lowest temperature it's ever been in here is 10 degrees. That high temperature of 80 was not from this bus, it was from something else, but the low temperature is definitely inside this bus, so it's been down to 10 degrees in here. Oddly enough, that was before I put all the insulation up. Since then it hasn't dropped below that, so that's a good sign. One of the things that I did want to bring up is that I had said we were going to finish up the wheel wells, and I have done that. So this side is what it's going to look like before I put the plywood back on. I cut that piece a little bit tight and I can't get it back out, so I'm about to put plywood over the top of it and call it a day. But for the reference on this side, you can see I put the Silas sound deadening mat over the top of it. You're looking at the foil side of it. That stuff is extremely sticky. I was really impressed with the way that stuck down. One of the other things that I did was put some 1-inch foam up against the plywood all the way around. And then I added some fiberglass insulation that I had left over from when I was working on the kiln. Figured I would put that in here to add a little bit of extra insulation. It's R19 insulation, but I know it's not going to be at that level because it is all compressed and will be when I put that foam back over the top of it. But let me show you how that works real quick. See if I can get it in one-handed. Let me move this over here. Yeah, that should work. All right, so drop that back there, drop it down, and there you have it. And it's in, and that is as far as I need to go with it. So now it's got R10 2-inch insulation on the top here. It's got the R5 on the sides, and it's got that fiberglass insulation filled in under the voids. One of the things that I did want to do with this as well is this got a 25 psi compressive strength, and so with that 2-inch gap in the center, this is actually sitting on top of the wheel well. So this is going to add some support and structure to the plywood when I put it back over the top, and actually have that 42-gallon water tank sitting on both sides of these wheel wells that will help make sure that that plywood don't sag in the center. And now, if I can do it without knocking the camera over, bring this plywood back in. And I've got the plywood set up. So that it sets on top of that rail in the back. And then that puts a lot of the weight of the water tank on top of that rail in the back, instead of just floating in the air over that insulation and just sagging down in the center. You get a couple of screws in this. I'm gonna really screw this down in a minute, but just wanted to run through that real quick. And then as soon as I get this, I've got a new toy I want to show you and give you an idea of what's going on based on the temperatures outside. Packed in and ready to go. Let's move this over to the other side. Get this plywood in. Exact same setup over here. Slides right over the top of that. And there it is. Everything back together. Oh, we'll add some more screws to tighten that up later. Now I want to show you a new toy I got and try to give you an idea of what's going on inside the bus. So I got this infrared thermometer thing, and as you can see, the temperature of the floor is 45 degrees. If I come over here to the metal that is in direct sunlight, the metal temperature is 60 degrees. However, doing the same thing here, 62, but as I walk it up, the temperature starts dropping quite a bit. And then when I get right about here, it drops drastically, and now it's down into the 40s. The reason for that is that this side of the bus over here is in the direct sunlight for the day, starting at about the center of the bus going over to this side. There's about 1.5 inches ice and snow still sitting on the roof of the bus, so you can definitely see the difference in the temperatures as you go across the metal structure of the bus. One of the things that I'll show you too is, so the metal temperature is somewhere in the range of mid-50s to 60, depending on where you look. And then you drop it down onto the insulation, and shows about the same. Interesting. Go over here, 61. Go to the insulation, 57. Now it is cold in here, so a lot of the surface temperature of the insulation is from the air temperature and not necessarily from the outside temperature. However, coming over here on the other side of my halogen lights, one of the added benefits I got from them is that they are heating this thing up and makes it easier to work. But based on where they're shining at, you can see that the temperature is hovering close to or over 60 degrees. The insulation temperature is about the same, so that is directly reflective of the air temperature and the heat that is being absorbed by those. Come back here, no insulation up here on the ceiling, and right there you can see it's 38 degrees. Go to the insulation, and that's an 11-degree difference. So I think the insulation is working. I mean, this is definitely not conclusive, but it does show that it's making a difference in here. And by the way, that is with the only heat in here being those halogen lights that I'm not going to point the camera at. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it for what I've got going on right now. I'm going to try to get this thing cleaned up and get everything set and staged for the next round of adventures. One of the next things I wanted to talk about in this episode is leveling this bus up. It was quite a challenge, but I got it pretty close. It settled a little bit, but as you can see right there, going across the bus, it's just a little bit off there. I do need to adjust it before I start construction in here. I want to try to make sure everything in here is level and square as much as possible for a school bus. But I did want to show you that, and I'll walk you through exactly how I did that, especially when you consider the terrain that this thing is sitting on. But as you can see, it's pretty close right there. So let's go to a couple other spots and check it out. I've already gone through this when I did the leveling, and consistently checked and leveled and all that. So if we go to the wheel well, you just saw me close up. If you look at this, coming in from behind, find a good, there we go, there's a good light angle. You can see that this is a lot closer than going across the side to side of the bus. And then if I carry it over to the other wheel well, we should have the pretty much the exact same indication. And if you look at this one, there we go. That one is almost dead on right there. So a little bit low in the back, but that's exactly what everything is telling me, is that this back corner back here is lower than where everything else is. So if we translate this up to the front, there we go, pretty much representing the exact same things in the back. So The right side of the bus is leaning downhill a little bit, so I need to pick it up, which is what I expected. Going to a couple of other things. Let's look at vertical, where we put the strapping on. Now, I'm not completely sure that I want to trust this, because there could be variations in the strapping, but I'm going to try to stay right on top of the channel rails. And if you can see that, there we go, it pretty much is holding true to everything else. So, and if we come over here to this side, look in the same place, this side is saying that it's dead on. So that's one of the challenges that I have with trying to level this thing up, is that the frame of reference for it is somewhat of an issue. But I do want to try to get a good frame of reference for level and square, so that when I start building in here, I can make sure that I have a solid foundation that I can work off of. So let's go outside, and I'll show you exactly how I managed to do that and what I did. So to start out with, let's walk around this way. This wheel right here is my frame of reference. It is the highest point of the bus. It is still sitting on the ground. And then on the other side, you can see I have a jack there. That jack came in after the fact. So the first thing I did was some calculations and figured out what I needed to raise where. So I bought these leveling pads that you see under the tire there. Bought those, measured and calculated and positioned them, and then backed the bus up. You can see I've got quite a few there. And then if we come back here, I didn't have enough, so I had to put some boards underneath, but did the same thing back here. Raised this side up based on those. And then on the other side, you can see over there that I got the same thing, and the inside tires are completely off the ground. So the other thing that I did, once I got them on top of those leveling pads, I came in, and as you can see right here, I've got several jacks. I've got one right here. I've got the one up there in the front under the bumper that I just showed you. I've got another one back there. And then if I come back here, I've got a couple more back here, and I've actually got my bus up on blocks, believe it or not. And then I have a jack back there. So when I level this thing, I basically just a little bit at a time on each one, and just keep tweaking it and checking it and making sure that that I get it, because I don't want to put too much load on them. But it all seems to be working good, and the bus is solid and stable. It's not moving. The only thing that I did notice that's somewhat causing me concern is the shape of these that are underneath this front tire here. I might put another jack up here to relieve some of that pressure, because they do look like they're starting to distort a little bit, and I definitely don't want that. So I just wanted to share with you that one of the things that I did to work on getting this thing leveled. Probably in the next episode I'll re-level this thing and show you how that works, and go through it a little bit at a time, and show you how I do all the adjustments. I'm not getting under there right now with all the snow and ice, but I will make sure that I get everything back to level the way it's supposed to be. I just wanted to share that, and I think that's going to call it on this particular episode, and we'll figure out what we're going to do next.